Oh my gosh.
Think they're still in there?
I mean, maybe. It is winter.
Yuck.
Mm-hmm, a little bit.
Guys, what's up? We are excuse me, we are in the shop today working on old termite, getting this Hemi ready and checked off the list. So I want to stop before we get into today's video and kind of let you know how these videos, how we're planning on doing them. So right now we've been working steadily, but there's nothing that's 100% finished. So like the fuel system's partly done, the you know, I don't know, the wiring is partly done. Everything's kind of, we've started, and as we're going through, we're finding little things, little whatnot stuff that we need. So we're having to order it. So as of right now, nothing is really finished. I don't even know if this is completely where the motor's going to sit, because the SRT manifolds that we have coming, I may have to shift the motor over a smidge. I don't know. I hope not, but I may. So nothing is at this moment just 100% done. So, but what we wanted to do is, as we check things off the list and as we work, we want to be able to kind of condense, like, let's say, for example, the fuel system. So we want to be able to do everything that we've done for the fuel system in one video. So in that video, you'll see shots from over a span of multiple weeks, but that way, you know, if anybody wants to see how you do the fuel on a Hemi swap, you can watch that one video. You don't have to go dig through, you know, 5 or 6 videos to find the fuel part segments. So it's going to be, and hopefully this week, the remainder of the stuff will be coming in and we can really get rolling on the videos. But we are working and we are making progress. We just kind of got scattered around right now. So that's kind of how we're wanting to do these things. So this week's not even going to get completely finished, and I'll explain to you why. So what are we going to do this week? Well, as you'll see in the fuel video, for example, we got the gas tank out, we got the skid plate, all that stuff down. Well, in doing that, these tanks have 2 straps. There's one up here in the front. As you can see, this one's just sitting on here, but it's rusted. The attachment there is gone, and the back strap is non-existent. You guys can see it there where it was, but it was not there when we dropped the tank down. So I don't know, at some point in life, whatever happened to that strap. So long story short, we've got new straps coming. The big thing we're going to be doing today, you can see, I put it there so you can see the Swiss cheese that our skid plate is. You can see all the spots where the light is coming through. And then you get out here and you can see the main strap support here. It's gone. So I got this all out the other day, pressure washed everything, cleaned it all up, and this was the result. We discovered this. So you can buy a used one if you can find one. I asked around, nobody had a used one. You can buy, Team Grand Wagoneer has a fabbed skid plate. It's like a little over $500 depending on what all options you get for it. And I'm not saying that's a bad deal. If I had it and just had money to do, I would buy that one because that's obviously the easier option. That's not a bad price. I just don't have $500 to spend on that because we have exhaust, drive shafts, everything else that we've got to buy to finish termite. So $500 I just don't really have. So we're going to build one. So this week we're going to fab up a brand new skid plate, and we're going to build it better than the factory. We're going to do a little bit thicker steel. I've got some heavier stuff out back, not much heavier, but just a little bit thicker steel, and we're going to kind of build something that's a little bit more structurally sound. This week we are building a non-Swiss cheese skid plate. All right, so here's what we have. This is what I'll probably be using for the sides. It's a little bit thinner. I wish I had enough of that. I'd do the whole thing in that, but I don't. So this stuff right here is pretty thick. It's at least a 1/16. I got a big old sheet, and what's cool about it is it already has that 90-degree bend, which we need. So this is an old sheet that has been leaned up behind my old shop. Now it's been behind this shop. I mean, this it's old, but it's still a solid piece of steel. So we'll clean it up. And this is going to be our base. And so, like I said, we'll cut our base out of that, and we'll cut our sides out of that. And for everybody wondering where the dart is, it's right there. It's still sitting here. I cannot get that tire to hold air. All the other ones are still holding air from when we aired them up. And the dart is for sale. I don't know what I want for it. Shoot me an email, make me an offer. I don't know. It's not worth much. I have no title on it or anything like that, but it does have 4-speed in it. So if you're wanting to do a 4-speed conversion on your A-body, this is a good little candidate. It runs. You guys can go back in the videos and see that. But the body and the floors, the trunk floor, everything's just gone. Like it's all just, it's mush. And what it would cost to replace it, I just don't care to do so. Anyway, I'm gonna get this metal drug out and onto the sawhorses. As you can see, we have a dismantled skid plate. They're not welded fully, they're just welded with tacks every so often. So you just cut the tacks and you saw me just chisel it a little bit. This is our strap. We're gonna probably reuse this on the new skid plate. And I'm gonna reuse the back plate because it's already pre-bent with the holes and the studs and all that kind of stuff. Even though this one's broke off, we'll pull that out and put a new one in. But anyway, this is just already pre-bent. All the stuff matches up is there. Same for the front. I haven't detached it. That's the only thing left. I got to cut the tacks here, but I'm going to reuse the front plate. I wish the sides were in better shape, but they are just all along the bottom. They're just pretty much rotted. These corners here where it ties into that are just, they're rotted. And by the time it would take me to patch and fix all of that with welds, I can just cut a new one out and have a all new metal, be a lot stronger, and be done with it. It just takes you have to kind of know, is it gonna take longer to fix this and still have what you have, or just cut out a new one and be done with it? So that's what we're gonna do. So anyway, what I can do now is, these are my patterns. So I did take some measurements, mostly where this is gonna be in reference to the bottom, but all of these are just gonna be patterns now. I can lay them onto my flat steel, trace them out, and know that I'm gonna have exactly what was on there before. So try to be careful when you take them apart, and you can use them for your pattern. So okay guys, I don't know if that was as excruciating to watch in a time lapse as it was for me to actually do it, but sawzalls on floppy metal is not fun, especially when I was trying to get the most I could out of that old blade and You probably saw it then when I put a knee blade on there, it just goes through it like butter, but you know, I'm a cheapo sometimes on that stuff. But anyway, we got our bottom essentially cut out. It's still got some weight to it. It's gonna be plenty, like I said, it's overkill, but it's what I got. It's free. So, you know, it is what it is, but this is at least 1/16. Maybe even 3/32. I don't think it's quite an eighth, but plenty beefy enough for the bottom. So the reason I wanted this edge on here is because you notice on the old pan, it curves up and then this bolts to the bottom of your frame. So it comes off the bottom of the frame and it's gonna dip down for the tank. So this is gonna basically be our dip. Now it's too high. We're gonna have to rip it off to the proper height. Then we'll lay this down on that metal again and cut us out this strip here and drill our holes, all that kind of stuff, lay it on here, weld it, and we'll have this side done. Then all we gotta do is cut our sides out and we'll be rocking and rolling. So, all right, y'all, we're down to our strip. I've got my holes, went ahead and drilled in because it's easier to drill them when it's still part of the whole piece. Got my strip marked out, and all right, guys, look how much better it looks. No, I'm just messing around. This is, I was just laying on to make sure all my holes, let's see, don't even see it. Make sure all my holes still lined up, kind of where they're supposed to be. But that's where we are at the moment. We've got it pretty well. That's the old strap right there. You don't have to reuse that. I'm sure these walls are going to be beefy enough. I could have just done the tab off the wall, but I don't know. It was there. It was still relatively solid. I cleaned it up and I just did rust bullet all up under here where it was going to be sandwiched between the new bottom and that. So that's what all that is. Just kind of make sure that I had something in there, and I'm going to come back in and plate around this and kind of really tie it in. But then you're going to have also your plates tying here and here. So it's there, but I figured it was a piece that's already built. It's just welded underneath the bottom like so. And that's just, I'm going to finish weld it. I had to gap it here to be able to accommodate, because the old bottom has a curve to it, and this one's not going to have it. It's just going to be flat. So I had to kind of splice it to accommodate for that curve, and we'll, like I said, we'll fix all that when we get there. This probably would have been easier just to, you know, weld the tab on there, but it's there. So this is the end of day one of this project, and he's a little wavy on this outside edge here. I got to clean that all up, but just trying to cut with that long of a distance with a cutting wheel and combo with the Sawzall, it was kind of challenging to keep it going really good. So, but I'll come back and clean all that up. So, all right, I got to go do a paint job tomorrow, but I'm hoping to get home in time before church to be able to get some of the sides start going on. But it's coming along. All right, guys, new day. I've come home, changed out of my work clothes into my work clothes. So what we got to do right now is, if you can tell on the old one, there is this box divot right here where that big hole is. You can see there's kind of a drop down, and that's on the bottom of the tank where your sending unit goes down. That's the lowest spot of the tank, so your sending unit can stay down there in that gas. And so we've got to cut a hole here where it's supposed to be for that to drop through, and then build that belly pan underneath this one. So I'm going to work on that today, because I need to do that so that the tank can set where it's going to set, so that I can, when I do the sides, I know that everything's how it should be. All right, well, there she is setting. You can see our arm here lines up perfectly where the old strap was. So everything that's going to be our hole for our front strap. You can see that's how it goes down, lines up there. And here's the bump that I was talking about earlier. You can see how it sticks out. So we're gonna get some cardboard and we'll bend us a piece that's gonna come down, over, and then back up and kind of cap that in to protect it there. So the factory one, you can see I cut it out. That's how big the factory one. They had a huge opening. I'm not gonna make one that big. We're just gonna keep it a little bit smaller, and I think it'll be fine. All right, well, I got the box pretty much built, tacked together, and had started welding it out and ran out of welding wire. So I guess that's when you know it's time to call it a day. So yeah, box is tacked. We got to put a drain hole here in the middle, which I know it needs a drain hole. It had drain holes, but one aspect is a drain hole and another it's a entry hole for water and mud. But it obviously water's going to get in there from the top and it needs a way to get out. So we'll have to drill a hole there. Tomorrow I'll get some more wire. But it's dark, it's getting late, and I'm tired. I was hoping to get that all welded out and be able to start on the sides tomorrow afternoon, but you know, it is what it is. So anyway, the box is built. I'm gonna call it a day. I'll get some more wire tomorrow and we'll finish her up. All right, guys. All right, here's where we are at the moment. We've got our two end pieces on. I just built some little 90-degree extensions and welded it all the way across the front and curved it over and welded across the back. Same thing on the back. And then we just did some spot welds across here, as well as kind of tacked it in a few places back here. These holes are where I missed, I don't know what I was thinking, drilled holes too big, so I got to weld them up on the front. But anyway, so it's there. We just need, you know, obviously cleaning up. But Andrew just came out and we got up under there and put it in place, put a few bolts in, made sure all of our holes lined up, and they did. All of our points hit. Everything looked good. So I can proceed now. We're building the sides knowing that when we go back in, it will fit. The only issue we had was right here. This is about 1 inch short because I guess the concave and all the stuff, because this is not a concave bottom, it's just flat. You can kind of see the arch to the factory one. I just went flat across the bottom. So I guess that kind of messed up that and got it about 1 inch short, but it fits the tank really well all in here. So I think what I'm gonna do is just build me like 1 inch spacer to sit here, and then when the strap comes down, it'll, you know, run a bolt all the way through like normal, and all will be well. So instead of trying to fight to re-weld that, I'm just gonna clean it up and we'll paint it off. Sorry if you hear the kids, they're on the trampoline. So that's just the crazy noises that I get to listen to while I'm working. So anyway, I'm gonna start now cutting out some sides and tacking some sides together. Well, there it is, guys. Just tacked up, of course. You know, essential. Pretty straightforward. It's a little thicker gauge than what the factory original one was, especially on the bottom, obviously. But should work. That should tank fits in there real good. Covers as necessary as I think it should cover. So now, just got to kind of finish weld it. I'm not going to like weld every seam fully all the way up. I'm just going to do like inch sections or something other through there, and that'll be sufficient. I'm going to take seam sealer and seal all the cracks before we paint it, just so there's nowhere for water to creep into and set and start to rust or anything like that. So I'm going to do that. So it's plenty strong enough for it's way stronger than the factory one was, and that's been holding a full tank for 34 years. So all right, guys, well, there it is. It's welded up. We cleaned this outside edge up too. I kind of cut it more like how the factory one was there. And I know it probably looks about the same, but it's welded up now. Got plenty of weld. It is super stout. I mean, it's way stouter than what was there before. So I know it looks kind of bad. That's just that patina on that metal and everything, but it's still good, solid metal. We're gonna sand it down a little bit more, clean it up. And these are the original front pieces. I need to clean them up a little bit more. But yeah, it's way more than was there from the factory. I got some Rust-Oleum Rusty Metal Primer. We're gonna give it a couple of good coats of primer, and then 2 or 3 good coats of just Rust-Oleum black enamel, and sand it. And I think that'll be sufficient for as long as I'm fooling with it. It'll hold for there. Now Jude or Lucy one day may have to remake it, but I won't have to. So all right, there it is in the tank, or the tank in it. Fits pretty much just like the other one did. Like I said, this strap needs to be about 1 inch higher. But when we get our straps in, wherever the strap stops, I'll just cut a spacer that'll go between them. I didn't feel like taking all that out to do that. That's just an easy solution there. And then back here, I test fit my bracket that goes here. All that looks good. And then down the side, we got nice, clean fitment there. So you see just a little bit of daylight between it, because we got the rubber matching. That's obviously going to sit in there too. So fits about like the other one did. So I'm happy with it. I came out here and I was like, man, this thing's already leaking. What is it that's leaking? But I forgot to tighten the drain plug on the transfer case. It's just not even finger tight, and whatever little bit of residual is in there is dripping out. But kind of caught me off guard for a minute. But anyway, what we're doing, triangle time. This is our old triangle that comes off the frame, and this back part right here, wrong way, bolts right here. This. So it kind of essentially sits just like that, and your frame, the top of your frame runs right in between here and goes down to here and across. But so as you can see, it's got a rust hole there, rust holes all up here, rust hole there. Underneath it is, you can see the Swiss underneath it. You know, it's bad. I'm sure if I cleaned it up it'd be even worse. So I just figured, hey, we got all the metal out, we're already making everything, so let's make a new one of those too. So I'm gonna start cutting some metal, get this built up. Probably not gonna film that because, like, you know, pretty self-explanatory. But we'll get this done because tomorrow I'm hoping to paint. All right, it's built. There it is. Got these holes drilled out too. They were all a little oversized on the factory unit, I guess, just so that you can have some room to wiggle this thing around. So went ahead and drilled them all out to 1/2 inches. That fits, lines up with all the holes, everything's good there. So now I'm gonna clean it up a little bit with a flat disc and just kind of smooth everything out, and it's ready to prime and paint. But I don't know what Andrew's cooking on the grill, but it smells really good, so I'm gonna go eat. So what is to eat?
Pork chops, potatoes, and fried okra.
Dang, boy.
What? Fried okra?
Do what I can.
She does it now.
Yeah.
All right, now the part that we have been looking forward to / dreading. It's time to put the gas tank back in. We got new vents. Just got those in from Team Grand Wagoneer. So we got those guys installed. We had one of them that was broke off. So those are in. Fuel lines are all in, tight, routed. Got loops and zip ties and all that good stuff. Looping them in, and then once we get it in, we'll tuck these the way that I think they're gonna have to run. All right, guys. Well, it is installed. Hopefully you can see well enough. All fits up there nice and tight. That's just a vent hose I got to route. We're all bolted in under here. Everything looks good. All around back here, everything's hooked back up. I still gotta put this on that bolts up here. I got it out there and got it painted. I just hadn't done it yet. But yeah, it's all in. Just handprints all over it. I'm gonna do a little more up here, another bolt probably, just to kind of help out. But all in all, it's in there. And so our fuel line's coming out. That's gonna be next week's video, is the fuel system. So we're gonna try to put all of that in one video, but it was just a lot, and you know, so helps us out to have content for a couple of weeks. Allows us to be able to kind of stay ahead of the curve on all this stuff. But yeah, skid plate's built. It's in there. Everything bolted up good, nice and tight. We didn't really film putting that in. Just didn't think you guys want to watch that too much. It's basic install. But it's all in there, and that's gonna wrap that up. So this is gonna end this video. I'm about to wrap up the fuel system, the whole fuel system. I've got these two lines to hook up to the regulator, and fuel system's done. So you guys will see that in next week's video, what I would do there. We'll do some pretty cool stuff there, building our own in-tank fuel pump setup deal and all that kind of stuff. That'll be next week. So anyway, check out that. Until then, guys, give us a like and a subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. And other than that, we'll see you guys next week. So it's time to do what we don't want to do but need to do. It'll be nice once it's done. Still gotta put, that comes.